Well, here we go, folks. President Trump is dismantling the deep state in real time. We got some bombshell news this weekend that we need to go over, and we're learning that we could be days away from the end of the war in Ukraine, or at very least the framework of what that will look like. No more loss of life, no more money going down the toilet in Ukraine. So some huge developments overnight that we need to talk about today on the show. First, Trump's peace plan for Ukraine has leaked on the internet. And it's a devastating blow for Zelensky. Someone in the deep state got their hands on it, tried to embarrass Trump by it, but it didn't work, actually. It had the opposite effect because it's embarrassing for Ukraine, not Trump. It's embarrassing for the deep state, not Trump. The plan reportedly includes immediate ceasefire negotiations, a total and complete halt to U.S. military aid. We flushed close to $200 billion down the toilet over the past few years. This would stop immediately. It also includes a power-sharing agreement in eastern Ukraine that favors Russia's interests. Now, if this plan is real, and all signs indicate that it is, it means that the war is effectively over and Zelensky is out of moves. Game over, you little cocaine-sniffing troll. You are done. Pack your bags, get out of here, go to jail. Meanwhile, the fighting in Ukraine has rapidly declined, and according to Moon of Alabama, something big is coming. All of this seems to be coming together at precisely the same moment. But the biggest sign of desperation? Late Friday night, Zelensky made a frantic offer to President Trump. He's now trying to sell off as much of Ukraine's rare earth minerals as he can in exchange for security guarantees. He knows his days are numbered. He knows he's out of turns. He's scrambling to make last-minute deals to save himself. Here, take our uranium, our tungsten, our copper, and in return, guarantee my safety.
These deposits are priceless. It is huge amounts of money. Huge. That is why we need to protect it. So if we are talking about a deal, that's what the Americans want, then let's do a deal. We are only for it. Let's do the deal.
And bigger than all of that, White House officials have confirmed that intense peace talks are now underway right now between Trump and Putin. And here's a huge clue that these negotiations are real. Trump just ended Biden's illegal seizure of Russian oligarch assets. This is a clear negotiating tactic, in my opinion, with Putin, likely trading something behind the scenes to push these talks forward. What rare earth minerals or energy deals did Trump just secure for the United States? Folks, we're witnessing history in real time. If this war ends, it will be a total humiliation for the deep state, for NATO, and the globalist warmonger machine. But that's just the beginning, because Trump isn't just ending wars, he's dismantling the deep state piece by piece. This weekend, we saw massive moves by the Trump administration to destroy the deep state corruption that's been using your tax dollars to destroy America.
The DOGE team discovered, among other things, that the payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups.
Trump just dismantled Biden's gun control actions, signing executive orders that wipe out unconstitutional restrictions that Biden tried to ram through. And it's not just stopping there. Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, is launching a full-scale purge of the Pentagon, exposing deep state operatives who've been siphoning off billions of dollars for foreign wars and bureaucratic bloat. And he wants every penny accounted for at the Pentagon. No secret programs, nothing hidden.
We are going to focus heavily to ensure that at a bare minimum, by the end of 4 years, the Pentagon passes a clean audit. The American taxpayers deserve that. They deserve to know where their $850 billion go.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk's Doge has uncovered more corruption and wasteful spending yesterday. A mind-blowing $240 million spent on studying transgender animals. Yes, you heard that right. Hundreds of millions of your tax dollars wasted on nonsense while real Americans struggle to make ends meet. And in a desperate move, the left is now suing Doge, trying to block its access to government payment systems. 14 states have filed a lawsuit to try to shut down Musk's truth machine because they know the investigations into USAID, election interference, and government corruption are about to expose everything. That's why they're freaking out. But it gets even wilder because the latest Doge findings this weekend have blown the lid off of just how much has been stolen from you guys, from us, taxpayers. According to new reports this weekend, over $4.2 billion in foreign aid grants were funneled into shell companies with no accountability, meaning these shell companies could have been using this money to bring child sex trafficking into the United States. Taxpayer money was also used to fund gender studies programs in Pakistan, totaling nearly $200 million in the past 5 years. USAID was also caught funding 73% of all foreign media in Eastern Europe, ensuring that the United States government controlled the news narratives overseas. In fact, we now know this weekend that USAID was funding over 6,200 journalists across 707 media outlets and 279 media NGOs, including 9 out of 10 media outlets in Ukraine. The U.S. controlled the media propaganda around the world. Your tax dollars being used to push anti-Trump media coverage. Your tax dollars being used to push transgender media propaganda, climate change, and war. And Putin was right. Last year, Tucker asked him during that interview why he didn't try to use more propaganda to spread his message. And he said, you can't, because the U.S. controls the media all over the world.
That NATO, the U.S., CIA, the West did this. Why wouldn't you present it and win a propaganda victory?
In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States, because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media. The ultimate beneficiary of the biggest European media are American financial institutions. Don't you know that?
And guess what? The Doge clock, now displaying on the national debt clock, shows that Trump's shutdown of these corrupt programs has already saved taxpayers over $50 billion in just 2 weeks. That's unbelievable. And the deep state, they are furious. Like Samantha Power, the head of USAID, the devil incarnate. Listen to her.
Well, you can imagine when you suddenly in your inbox find a termination notice or a leave of absence notice that you didn't expect to get on a flawed predicate, that you're doing radical leftist insubordination. It's pretty jarring.
You can almost hear the desperation in her demonic voice, can't you? USAID was one of their biggest money laundering operations, and it's over. Here's how one journalist put it. Here's how to become a millionaire in 6 easy steps. Number 1, become a Democratic politician. Number 2, create an NGO. Number 3, fund the NGO with taxpayer money. Number 4, the NGO pays and protects the politician. Number 5, the NGO gets politician reelected. And number 6, politician becomes a millionaire. I'm looking at you, Elizabeth Warren. I'm looking at you, Bernie Sanders. It's worked for so many of them, right, Hillary Clinton? I mean, listen to Democrat Chris Coons on television try to defend that we're spending money to send Sesame Street to Iraq.
This isn't just funding a kid show for children, millions of children in countries like Iraq. It's a show that helps teach values.
It helps teach values? Really? Okay. I mean, we need to pay for Iraqis to learn about Elmo and Big Bird. How about instead we don't create a fake story about weapons of mass destruction and then destroy their country and kill 1 million Iraqis? That might be a better value to export. What do you think? But here's the thing. This whole thing is totally historic. As Mike Benz said in his Friday night interview with Tucker Carlson, this is the first time in American history that the deep state has had to answer to the American people.
This week is really the first time, maybe in American history with few exceptions, that the blob, the foreign policy establishment that impacts so much of domestic affairs and sometimes controls it, has had to answer to the people that fund it.
I mean, let that sink in for a moment. He's right. The first time in American history. And now it's spreading worldwide. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is watching, from Hungary to Canada, from Europe to Australia. People are demanding their own version of Doge. They see what Trump is doing and they want in. This isn't just a U.S. movement. It's a worldwide revolution. So guys, that's the news update part of today's video. Now you need to pay attention to today's sponsor, which is tied directly to Trump's moves on rare earth minerals, especially in Ukraine, and how it relates to our national security. I mean, Trump is right. Our lack of mining in the United States is a national security risk. So I had to check this. I had to double check this, triple check the following startling fact for you, okay? How in the world has the United States government allowed itself to be this ignorant of the risks and dangers to its national security? There are none, and I mean 0, producing mines of a very critical and crucial rare earth mineral on U.S. soil. This mineral is 100% imported from other countries. And this particular rare earth metal is used for military applications. This is gross incompetence, in my opinion, started back under Bill Clinton. How is it that the U.S. imports 27% of the supply of this metal from China? Seriously. So it's tungsten, okay? Tungsten's unique characteristics make it indispensable in modern industrial, technological, and defense applications. Tungsten is used as a core material in armor-piercing shells and bullets. Its density, hardness allow it to penetrate tank armor and reinforce structures effectively. Tungsten is used in some advanced composite armors for military vehicles due to its ability to basically absorb and dissipate kinetic energy. So for decades, globalization has blinded these politicians in Washington, and the Chinese have become the dominators of rare earth mineral mining. I believe there's never been a better time to hold American-based tungsten stocks. So let's talk about this company, American Tungsten. Here is their ticker on your screen. Now, this is a company that could become the first tungsten producer on U.S. soil. That's right, the first. This comes after decades of zero mining whatsoever, no mining at all. You must research this company as soon as you can, guys. So American Tungsten is only worth $12 million. So in the due diligence I conducted, I found out that rare earth elements are used in so many indispensable items. I mean, the United States faces a critical vulnerability in its dependence on China for rare earth minerals. I simply don't understand how China achieved control of approximately 70% of global rare earth production and 85 to 90% of the processing capacity, creating a strategic chokehold on global supply chains. It's totally beyond me. And the dominance isn't just accidental, it has to be intentional. I mean, over decades, China has strategically invested in mining, refining, and exporting rare earths, while undercutting competitors with much lower costs, forcing many U.S. operators to basically shut down. And guess what? It worked. The U.S. now has only one operational rare earth mine. That's in Mountain Pass, California. And get this, it relies on China for refining the ore into usable materials, which is a glaring weakness. They mine it, then they have to ship it to China, but it doesn't mine tungsten, though. In a geopolitical crisis, China could weaponize this dominance. It has signaled that they would do this in the past. A sudden supply disruption would cripple U.S. industries, including defense contractors dependent on rare earth elements for missile systems, jet engines, advanced electronics. Transitioning to domestic production is slow and costly, leaving the United States highly exposed. So this rare earth dependency risks becoming a national security crisis of unparalleled magnitude. There are no producing tungsten mines on U.S. soil. Zero. So American Tungsten seeks to become the first tungsten producer on U.S. soil. Just so you understand, this company, American Tungsten, is advancing a significant North American past-producing mine in a region with minimal environmental and regulatory barriers compared to overseas competitors. The company's flagship asset used to be the 5th largest operational tungsten mine in the United States. Now, the company plans to put it back into production. What's incredible is that the market cap is $12 million today. And the historical high-grade mine and drilling results, when compared with other developers who are racing to be first movers, are in a much more compelling IMA mine. I don't know if there's another mineral or metal so essential that the Department of Energy deems it as critical. The U.S. produces none of it, importing it by the boatload from China. And I could be a shareholder of the first mover in the mining of it in the United States. So the Department of Energy classifies tungsten as a critical material, recognize its strategic importance to national security, clean energy, and the high-tech industry. Now, tungsten has the highest melting point of any metal. It's extremely dense and it's hard. These characteristics make it indispensable for applications that require high heat resistance, durability, and strength. So guys, do your homework on American Tungsten, okay? Right now, its market cap is only $12 million. All the while, there are no other companies in the United States which have a realistic path to start production, as far as I know, faster than this company, American Tungsten. Think about the potential. 0 operational mines on U.S. soil, and China has already made export bans. The company will soon begin discussion to secure strategic partnerships and non-dilutive financing with the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Department of Energy. Peer companies are trading at market caps exceeding $25 million. And American Tungsten, in contrast, is just beginning its journey. So guys, Conduct your own due diligence on this company. Okay, do your own homework on it. I'll have links to the company's information in the description below. And we'll see you next time, everyone.